what I also understand is that we don't control access to fatherhood. We only can control access to like
Relationship.
marriage,
Yeah.
right? To the relationship.
Into it. Why are you running for president?
Well, I'm running as an America First mega guy, and we have an America First mega guy running, obviously. So the question is, what do you bring to the table?
You said MAGA.
Mega.
Okay.
And the answer is, I bring a lot of issues to the table that I feel our side is not talking enough about, if at all. For example, the number one social problem in America, by far, is the epidemic not of COVID, but of fatherlessness. 70% of black kids today enter the world without a father in the home, married to the mother, up from 25% back in 1965. Now 25% of white kids enter the world today without a father in the home, married to the mother. And the stats are clear. Even Barack Obama once cited them. If you're raised without a dad, you're 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. What's happened? In the mid-'60s, with I think the best of intentions, a Democrat named Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. And since then, we have incentivized women to marry the government and incentivized men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. You know, when I say this to people, the pushback I get is, well, there are lots of things that are going on, systemic racism, poverty. Here's the problem. If you look at a young black male aged 10 to 43, that's young to me because I'm 71 years old. A young black man in that demo is 13 times more likely to be murdered than a young white man, same demo. Young black man, real young, 19 and under, the number one cause of preventable death is homicide, almost always at the hands of another young black male. Same demo for whites, the number one cause of preventable death is unintentional deaths. That includes drug overdoses, automobile accidents, drownings. It's not until they get to number 4 that death is the cause. In America, 60% of the shootings, the robberies, and the homicides are committed by black people, often against other black people. Of the homicides in this country, half of them are black victims, almost all killed by other blacks. How do you explain that if it isn't for the absence of fathers? Are you prepared to say black people are just genetically inclined to commit more crime? I doubt it. And the go-to reaction often is poverty and systemic racism. Here's the problem. 1940, when there was blatant racism. This is before Brown versus Board of Education, before the Civil Rights Act of 64. KKK was still alive and well. 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. Now it's about 14%. You can't blame it on poverty. You can't blame it on racism. It is the breakdown of the nuclear intact family, and neither side is talking about it. The left doesn't talk about it because they caused it with the welfare state, and our side does not talk about it because if you're white, you'll be accused of dissing single moms who are heroically raising these kids, or you'll be accused of being a racist, or if you're black, you'll be accused, as I was by the LA Times, of being the black face of white supremacy. Nobody's talking about that. I am.
What are the reasons, if your statistics are right, what are the reasons that you think fathers aren't in the home?
As I said, it's because
Just said.
in the mid-'60s, Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. In Charlemagne, literally, they sent social workers door to door in the inner city. I remember this. Advising women of the availability of welfare provided there was no man in the house. It created an economic incentive for women to marry the government. Same thing with whites. In 1965, 8% of whites entered the world without a father in the home, married to the mother. Now it's about 25%, also up threefold. Look at census data, 1910, 1920, 1930, in places like Milwaukee, Chicago, Philadelphia. A young black kid was slightly more likely to be brought into a world with a father in the home, married to the mother, than a young white kid. We have incentivized this kind of bad behavior, and it's had a disproportionately bad effect on the black community.
Let's go! Is there a problem in America with fatherlessness? The reason why most males are lost, not just black but white, anybody. And on the other side, do fathers want to be fathers?
You got that other video I sent too?
Guys, I finished uploading. I think we'll play it in a mix of everybody else playing.
I bet. All right.
So,
So y'all don't want to start there. It's about to upload.
No, y'all go ahead. I'm still upload, still processing. No,
okay,
y'all keep on going. Y'all
okay,
play the next one.
go ahead.
I like Charlemagne, bro. Because Charlemagne is a conversationalist. I like how he was able to like toggle that conversation. And I like his book Shook Ones, where he talks on anxiety. Just a plug for those who want a resource. That's a good book to read about anxiety. Um, as far as what Larry is like Larry Elder,
Larry Elder,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was laughing because I could definitely see those responses that he was getting. I could definitely see those responses he was getting. I agree with a lot of what he was saying, but y'all know me, stats are not facts. But going off of the data that he probably was presented, I could see why he came to those conclusions on some of the stuff. But to the merit of what we came to discuss about the fatherlessness, I know first and foremost, what I'm gonna say is shout out to all of you fathers that are out there who are actively in your child's lives. Shout out to every one of you. Y'all are important. Y'all are more important than what society tells you. You are amazing.
Shine. Get your shine on. Get your shine on, shout it.
I put this on. I put it on everywhere. Booty cheeks, kneecaps, underarms. I got the vanilla right here. Usually, I got the lavender one. It helped me sleep good. Cause I be sleeping like this, and I can smell it off my hands. I'm trying to tell you, feeling good. Y'all better rock with this.
Right.
It's that vanilla. Yeah.
Listen, man, we ain't being ashy no more. Hygiene.
Yeah.
Hygiene is important. You need to get your shine. It's hydrating. It's light. It lasts all day. You don't got to use a lot, and it's good from face to foot.
Historically, I don't really use lotion or nothing like that because I'm like in a hybrid, light skin, in between dark skin motherfuckers. Coming back from vacation, I'm a little sunburnt. So I needed something to get my skin back right because I'm feeling like a reptile right now. So I'm gonna get this baby going on when I get home.
Oh, and look, you gotta shine on, everybody. Look, I got like 4 cases. I got a bunch of cases. And I got the big jar too. That's old school. Y'all don't even know about that. He don't even got those no more. But look, I'm telling y'all, this shine is amazing. Help with eczema, clear your skin up, all of that great stuff. So you don't want to miss out on this shine, man. Make sure y'all go get y'all a bottle of this.
All natural ingredients.
Absolutely.
Yep. Where they can find it?
So you can find this at shinecareproducts.com. Let them know that we sent you. Use the code FMF20, get you a discount.
Got to.
I know it's not easy, but keep your head up and make it happen. Your presence is pivotal. Your presence is pivotal. You bring structure, authority, guidance in raising children. I always credit the difference between a woman who was raised with and without a father. A woman who was raised without a father is more easily assuaged, is more easily manipulated by the lies that men tell to get the draws. Uh, than it is a woman who was raised with the father. They clearly know the bullshit and this, that you trying to bring, and it'd be a big difference. That's just one factor, but we've also had meetings. Shout out to Rebuilding Men. Shout out to Rebuilding Men, man. That's an amazing nonprofit my brother Paul here has created, and is steady on the incline and in the community and doing things that is amazing. Um, Shout out to Rebuilding Men. We had a meeting, and it's another men's group. We had a meeting, and come the end of the discussion, we all realized that all of our issues related back to like father. It was father issues, you know what I'm saying? Like whether the father was there or not there. When he was there, and when was he abusive? Was he, productive? What was the image? What happened? Was he too strict, a disciplinarian? All of that stuff. Like, and the father played so much of the role. It's like everybody in the room was like, "Yeah, we're gonna love moms. That's that's automatic." But dad,
Yeah.
dad, I'm about to fight this
Yeah.
nigga.
Want to get that unconditional love automatically,
Yeah. But I, I'm gonna give more of my spill later on when we got the other video uploaded and everything. I would like to. I already applauded the fathers, but let me applaud the fathers on this platform right now, Mr. Paul DeBerry and Mr. Terrence Blackwell. Both are fathers, and Terrence is a new father. He just had a child, so big shout out to you, my man. That is
Appreciate it.
that is huge, man. I think it's beautiful. You, yeah, serves your
Look like he
purpose.
can use
Start
some
life.
sleep.
You
Look
know
like he can use
what
some sleep over here.
I mean?
Paul too. Paul does know. Come on, Paul.
Yeah, yeah. Look.
I'm fucking with y'all.
You know what I'm saying? And y'all don't have to do it alone. You know what I'm saying? That's what the community is for. It takes a village. They know that. But I wanna throw the baton to y'all, man. As fathers, how do y'all feel about the you have something to say, Keith?
Is the question, do men want to be fathers or not? That's what we talking about.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Quick,
This,
quick, quick, quick question. Do
sure.
we got another video we about to get pull up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I wanna reserve my full answer to after the next video too.
Okay, I'm gonna give my spiel now. Then I think most of us want to be fathers. I think the main issue is we don't plan it. We don't plan it
Mm-hmm.
correctly. We just we fall in love or just get consumed in the happiness of our woman, that happy wife or happy girl, happy lifestyle, and we just don't plan it. We just let it, like, oh, life happens sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I I don't think that's an excuse. In my experience, I know I was part of that group Trey was talking about our issues stemming from our fathers, and my father, which I learned, he had, 3 boys, but he had it at a time where he just wasn't ready to be a father, and I found that
Yeah.
out through the statements he made in his criminal record.
Mm.
But I just think we don't take the time to plan it out. We don't have those conversations with our significant other about the financial plan and what it's going to take to raise a child outside of, the love and, all that other good stuff that sounds good in fairy tales and whatnot. I think we just don't have those conversations and plan to be fathers, adequately.
Mm. That's why you can't have
I'm
community
gonna
without
I'm gonna go now
communication.
too. I'm gonna go now too. So yes, thank you, Trey. I just had a little girl. She is 6 weeks
Yes.
old.
Yes.
Um, yeah, man, I love it, man. I love being a dad. I love being able to, just give that love to another person. I love my wife more because of it, which is crazy.
Yes.
Um, so it's beautiful. I
Absolutely.
grew up with a dad, so um, my dad passed, but he was in my life and we were good friends. He was a good dad, so I have a different perspective. Um, I think men essentially do want to be fathers.
Mm.
That's my core answer.
Yo, what's up, FMF Mob? What's good, yo? Hey, I want to thank y'all for all the subscribers that we got. We clicked over 100 subscribers, but we looking, man, we need more support. So y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button at the bottom. Make sure you like the videos and keep showing that support. Y'all take care.
What I also understand is that we don't control access to fatherhood. We only can
Mm.
control access to like
Relationship.
marriage,
Yeah.
right? To the relationship. So if a woman decides that, she's ready to have a child, guess what? If that happens and she gets pregnant, she's keeping it. You don't have a decision in that. So can you imagine that scenario where you meet a girl for the first night, right? You like her kinda, she was cool, whatever, right? Y'all had sex. She got pregnant, and now you're like, man, like I don't even know this girl. No, I don't want to have this kid, but she doesn't want to get rid of the kid,
Mm.
and it's nothing it's nothing you can do. You're forced to be a father at that point. Now you guys are not even going to be on the same page. Now you're going to go through the system. You're going to be on child support immediately, right? Now that there's bitterness because you met somebody you didn't want to have a child by. They went against your wishes to have that had the child. You're forced now. If you're not in that child's life, now you're a deadbeat father. You have to
Mm-hmm.
pay child support, and you may not even have access to that child.
Mm-hmm.
So the system kind of sucks. If we go right now, if there was a situation where I think me and Paul are the only fathers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But if something happened and we had to go through the court system, it's always going to be more favorable for the women. No matter
Mm-hmm.
if she was not a great mother or whatever, it's always going to be more favorable in that perspective. So I think essentially we do want to be fathers, but we're also in a system that's not necessarily designed in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we're not even mature enough to sit down with the mother of the child and have that conversation. Like, look, let's work something out. We don't have to go through the court system. Let's work out visitation. Let's work out whatever support looks like. I think if we were able to have more mature conversations like that, I think more men would be more open to being fathers and fostering better relationships with the children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's my answer.
When do you have that conversation?
I
Well,
think honestly, I mean, it should be a very early conversation. First off, like
Mm-hmm.
I believe in like when I met my wife, I was at a different place. I'm gonna be honest, and this is public knowledge. We've had this conversation with my wife, so I feel comfortable saying it.
Yeah.
When I met my wife, I was dealing with somebody else, and I
Mm-hmm.
was also like heavily, I'm gonna say single, right? So,
you know that. You
so,
know that.
so with that being stated, like I knew like I was at a place where I was like, man, like I'm tired of dealing with so many different females. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, the next female that I meet, my intentions is to cut everything off and get married. So when I met my wife, the conversations that we were having was, listen, I'm attracted to you, but I want to get married. Like this is my intention. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're not on this, I don't even want to date you. If we can't get married, then I'm looking for somebody else because that was my mindset.
Yeah.
So when we first started talking, the questions that I was asking was those questions. How do you feel about kids? How do you feel about how are you with money? What's your relationship with your
Mm,
dad? What's your
mm,
relationship with your mom? Right?
mm.
Were you abused? Like, because these are things I need to know because if I'm going to make a decision to say, like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you, I need to understand how you operate so that I can make an investment into you, right? In a business deal, if you were to acquire a company, there's a period where you go in and you look at it's called due diligence. You look at the books of the business, you look at the bones of the business, so you can tell if this is a business that's profitable or is it going through a trend within the industry. And
Mhm.
then you have other people that will also come in. You have a business broker, you have a lawyer that will come in and they will assess the deal before you make a decision to acquire that company. It's the same way that we have to look at relationships. We are acquiring, and I don't mean that from a literal perspective, but we are acquiring the services of someone else, and we're bringing them on to incorporating them into our team. So we have to do the same thing to make sure that we're bringing somebody on that fits into what we're trying to do in the future. And I think a lot of times, like we meet women, and I'll speak for myself. What I used to do, I would meet women just from a physical perspective. You know,
Mhm.
if they look good, whatever, how they the body and all that,
Mhm.
but not understanding that what's more important is can we have a conversation? Like, can I
Come on
talk to you
now.
about this
Man.
idea that I have to,
Mm.
to build? Can we discuss finances? Can we just discuss stocks? Can we talk about what's really happening in the world? You know what I'm saying? And if we
Mhm.
can't have those conversations, then are we only going to talk about what's for dinner? No, I'm good. I don't want to talk about that. Right. So
I
I,
do.
I think I think we have to like we got to be like we got to I think as men we have to like make better decisions on our next step. We got to really plan out. Like we were talking about in the first conversation, we got to have a strategy in everything that we're doing. And it's the same
Often.
thing with relationships. What's the purpose of this relationship? Is this going to
Thank
be? Is
you.
this a good seed? And if it's not a good seed, then like don't water it, because if you water it,
Mm.
the seed is going to grow.
That's it, bro. Hey, taking Paul words, he said, "Don't waste time on people, bro. Don't be wasting time on people."
Hey, well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna go ahead and
100%.
talk because I gotta
The
get ready
video
for work a
ready
little bit.
too.
But I want to piggyback on what Terrence was saying. The thing that I realize is anytime you have sex, the opportunity presents itself. And the reason why I learned that is the first time I had sex with a woman, I got her pregnant.
Oh, you still here? You ain't subscribed yet? Hit that button, my man. Hit that button to subscribe.
You know what I'm saying? And that was a whole different thing. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody really taught to me,
So
educated me on the do's and the don'ts. You know what I'm saying? Like you just kind of just figuring it out. And the thing is, I had my dad around, but my dad was so busy working that it was a lot of stuff I had to still learn on the fly. And being the oldest and nobody really around my age range, shoot, man, I was just figuring stuff out. So what I realized in that moment, like compared to a lot of other guys, man, I probably don't got as many women because I understood the seriousness of sex early.
Yeah.
And so I think that helped me out realize that, you know what, I do have some control over it. I could just not do it. And then until I got found a person that, and this is a thought that really come through my mind when I deal with a woman is, do I think I can at least have a good co-parenting relationship with this woman before I even do it? And with me, and the fellas will tell you, for me, they be like, yo, Paul talk all the time. He talk to everybody. And then when it comes to any woman that I'm dealing with, I'm gonna talk your head off because, like Terrence said, man, I'm trying to get to know what's your inner workings look like. And to
yeah,
be for real, a lot of women really like that. They want to know that you're taking an interest in them, and that you want to get an understanding and learn these valuable things. And they learning valuable things about you to see if y'all, even if it's just like a little hit and run thing. I just want to make sure we on the same page. If it is a hit and run, and you not gonna switch up, they always got the option to switch up. But if you really talk to them and you don't, and I think we get so impulsive with our decision making. Over time, they have to expose who they are, just like you're going to expose who they are. That's one thing. You know, like I try to talk to my fellas about. It's like, yo, don't be in a rush to do nothing with them because you don't even know them.
Right.
You don't even know them. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can tell you anything at the beginning, but their actions is going to show you over time, is they really about what they saying? And I think with the fatherlessness, to kind of touch on, or do fathers really want to be fathers? I had talked about this, and I think I brought the subject up like a while ago. I think, and it's not an attack on our fathers out there. I think a lot of times we just don't know anything. I think a lot of fathers think just providing is being a father, and they don't understand that it's other aspects that come with being a father that contributes to the development of your child. So I hear a lot of guys talking about, yo, like, I just want the stay-at-home wife so she take care of the kids and I'll be out providing. Well, it's your job too to take care of the kids too. You know what I'm saying? It's your job to spend time with them. It's your job to teach them lessons that, especially a young man, that mom can't teach them. You know what I'm saying? You got to be active in their life. You got to talk these things. And I'm saying this, I got an amazing father. You know what I'm saying? So it's not an attack on him or anything, man. He did the best he could because his dad wasn't around. And I understand that. But a lot of stuff I had to learn on my own because we never had that dialogue. We never really connected on that level where I could ask him about, like, I really talked to him about girls. You know what I'm saying? I could talk to him about puberty. Like, yo, man, what's these crazy ass feelings? Blue balls. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't talk to my dad about a lot of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I talked to my homeboys, people that's my age that's learning the same way I'm learning. And that's not
that's not great guidance, So I
Yeah.
think when I think about, do fathers want to be fathers, I'm like, do you want to be a provider, or do you really want to be a father? Do you want to be active in your child life other than just, taking care of the bare necessities? Are you going to go out there, you're going to work with your children, you're going to sit down and have real conversations with them so they don't got to figure out life on their own? And it's the first step is providing. You know what I'm saying? So all my fathers out there that are providing, that's doing those steps, man, shout out to y'all, because there's a lot of fathers that's doing nothing. So I want to make sure I shout out anybody that's doing something that's contributing to their child life. But you got to understand, this is a little person that's growing up too. And just like we going through stuff, they going through stuff, and they learning, and we got so much guidance that we could instill on them to help them avoid a lot of the pitfalls. Like when I really had conversations with my mom and dad, they went through the same stuff I went through. The exact same stuff. When I got older and I started opening up to them a little bit more, just tell them a little bit more about me and what I went through, they was like, man, I went through the same stuff. We never had no conversation. I'm like, dang, yo, if you would have told me this, maybe I could have avoided all of this. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the part that I like to hone in on, and especially shout out to Trey for shouting out Rebuilding Men. But with Rebuilding Men, I'm trying to get back to that point of, like, us as a man, it's more than just providing. It's about guidance, discipline, all of these other things that go into being a father and creating the best human you possibly can. We're gonna do some shit that's gonna fuck up our kids. Like, we not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, we not sitting here trying to be perfect. But the goal is, man, sit down, talk to your kids, man, instill whatever qualities that you want to instill in them, and instead of just pushing it off for the school to teach them or the mom to teach them or whatever like that. I'm divorced from my ex-wife, and I have a daughter. So her mom is teaching her something there. But if I want to counteract that, I spend more time teaching her the things I want to teach her. So hopefully it seep into her mind what I want, the principles and the morals and stuff that I want. And shout out to my daughter's mom. We got a really good co-parenting relationship. We had to work a lot on it. But we see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. But it's some things I just want to instill in my daughter that I feel like is going to benefit her for the long run. And when it comes to being a father, man, I think one of the things we really got to hone on and get back to, because when I think about my grandfather was always talking to me about something. I was attached to my grandparents' hips. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know it's tough. Man, I know it's tough, man. We out here trying to build businesses. We out here working 9, 10, 11 hours, but we doing it for our family. And one of the things I realized is I got so caught up in the grind of working, I forgot to pour into my family. I forgot to pour into my daughter. And I see the difference from, because my daughter's 8 now, I see the difference from when my daughter was a little child and her relationship with me to now that I'm spending more time and doing these things and connecting with her on a different level. The relationship has really grown since then. So I know it's a lot to put on us, but we can shoulder it. We got to work, we got to provide. That is the basics. But the other part that we got to get to is making sure that we also implementing and giving guidance. And shout out to Trey, because Trey always talking about this. Can't have community without communication. We got to get back to having a community of men. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no telling, we might not be here tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wake up every day thankful because I know it's a possibility that I couldn't be here. And so I like to have all these fellas on here, man. I know if something was to happen to me, they'll look after my daughter. You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to get back to, is that community, man. Because it's a lot on just the parents. It's that the community include the grandparents, include friends, godparents, all of these people, man. So it's great to provide. And shout out to all my fathers out there providing, that's, paying their child support and stuff like that. But to really elevate it up, man, and to really create that bond and create that human that is an image of yourself, it comes to, that conversation and really talking and guiding our kids other than just providing for them.
Right. Come on, Paul. The preacher. That's the Apostle Paul, man. I love it, bro. That's what I'm talking about, man. I definitely believe fathers want to be fathers. And when Mr. Blackwell was speaking, I had some questions. But G, you got the other video? Y'all want to play the other video?
Might as well.
All right, go ahead and play that other video before we continue. And again, shout out to all the fathers out there, man. If you're making an effort, a genuine, true effort to be the best father you can be, you're doing an amazing thing. It's not a small feat at all. So I applaud y'all.
Mhm.
I'm just putting it into practice right now.
While we waiting on the video, I just want to encourage the fellas, like, if you ain't ready to be a father, work on your withdrawal game, man. Like, do some push-ups, work on your Cobra, do your Kegels, man. Like, get out of there.
Eagles, bro.
Get out of there.
Eagles, bro.
You only got
You
that
know
point
what I'm
five seconds to make a life-altering decision, man. Get out of there. It don't feel that good, man.
saying? Delayed gratification, right?
Mhm.
That's what I was going to ask is how do each one of y'all had came to a pivotal moment like Mr. Blackwell, you say you was single. Um, what was it that made you like, nah, I want to marry? You know, I want to marry. I want to raise a child. I want that. Like, what switched for you?
I, I can speak for me. That's all I seen. My parents are married and everything like that. So that's why what they're talking about, as far as keeping the the father and the mother together, man, that is still something in the child that they see
Mhm.
growing up. Like all I knew was like marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like I always knew I wanted a wife, and I always knew I wanted children. And
Yeah.
my experience with my first time made me even more cautious and more deliberate about my actions, and realizing like, yo, like I don't even need to be doing nothing with somebody if I can't even relate to them on a certain level. If I
Yeah.
can't get to this certain level with you, I don't even maneuver like that. And especially now in my later years, I'm even more stingy since my divorce. I'm like, nah, man, I ain't just messing with anything. It was a little period I wilded out a little bit, but I always knew the seriousness and I always knew the consequences of my actions. If I stick it in, it's a chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't got nobody to blame but myself at the end of the day, whatever happened from there. So I would say just growing up seeing my family together and just seeing marriage all around me, and then that experience made me be like, you know what, I don't even need to maneuver in a certain way if I don't have a certain basic relationship with a woman.
But did that make you? Did your first experience and that it's a pretty big shock? I mean, I think I can speak for myself. That's one of the reasons why I was hesitant on having my first time because I was like, that's a possibility, and I know I ain't ready. You know, I'm a teenager. That's what it was for me. Uh, with that experience, man,